Human life, when stripped of its social niceties and complex justifications, reveals a fundamental division that many find uncomfortable to acknowledge, the dynamic between the hunter and the prey. Mustafa Sajjad Haider, in his provocative essay titled 30, Insani Zindagi Ka Khulasa, suggests that we generally navigate existence through one of two lenses. Either we embrace a raw, observation-based reality that ignores moral hypocrisy, or we drape our lives in high-minded philosophy and constructed purposes to hide the predatory nature of our systems. It's a binary that forces us to look at our daily interactions, our family ties, and our societal structures as a hierarchy of those who have the power to hunt and those who are destined to be the hunted.
Haider's perspective is essentially a modern literary take on social Darwinism, but with a psychological twist. He identifies what he calls Method A and Method B. Method A is the path of brutal honesty. It requires putting aside sharam o haya, shame and modesty, to see things as they really are. From this viewpoint, life is an ecosystem of intelligence and power. If you possess hereditary wealth, elite skills, or even a certain gundapan, a street-smart aggression, you are the hunter. Everyone else, the vast majority who lack these inherited or acquired advantages, falls into the category of the hunted.
But that's an incredibly bleak view of human connection. If we follow Method A to its logical conclusion, are we saying that empathy is just a luxury for the winners or a delusion for the losers? Haider mentions that Method B is the one where we use munafiqat, or hypocrisy, to construct beautiful goals in philosophical books to justify our existence. It sounds like he's accusing all of civilization, religion, law, ethics, of being nothing more than a cover-up for the slaughterhouse.
In many ways, he is. He argues that Method B is used by the hunters to prepare the prey to be slaughtered peacefully. It's a form of rationalization. Think about Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of slave morality. Nietzsche argued that the lambs, the weak, invented the concept of evil to label the birds of prey who were simply acting on their nature. Haider's Method B mirrors this. It's the art of using language to spin a web of meaning that prevents us from seeing the raw power dynamics at play. He even suggests that if you are a hunter, you must learn the art of munafiqat, just to avoid the embarrassment of your own success at the expense of others.
The way he brings in the poetry of Munir Niazi and Parveen Shakir adds a very specific cultural weight to this. He quotes Niazi's famous line about the people of the city being cruel, but also having a shock or a desire for death. It implies a strange complicity. Is he suggesting that the prey in human society actually chooses their role by worrying too much about what others think? That by following the social scripts of Method B, they are effectively presenting themselves for the hunt.
That's exactly the sting in the tail of his essay. He uses that line, Kuj sher de lok vizalim san, kuj sanu maran da shak vc, to point out that those who focus on social approval, on what will people say, are handing over their autonomy. They become easy targets because they're paralyzed by the very moral frameworks, the Method B stuff, that were designed to control them. Haider's preference for Method A isn't just about being a predator, it's about the clarity required to stop being a victim. He challenges the listener. If humanity can use its intellect to walk on the moon and leave the actual jungle behind, why can't we use that same intellect to evolve out of this hunter-prey binary?
It's a paradox, though. He says Method A is the key to changing things, yet Method A is the very thing that recognizes the Shikari and Shakar as a fundamental truth. It's almost as if he's saying we must look the beast in the eye before we can cage it. But look at the history of this idea. Anthropologists like Robert W. Sussman in his book Man the Hunted have argued against the man-the-hunter myth. Sussman's research showed that early humans were actually a prey species for millions of years. Our intelligence, our cooperation, our social bonds, those didn't evolve because we were aggressive killers. They evolved because we had to outsmart big cats and hyenas. We survived through care and share rather than control and hold.
And that research by Sussman provides a fascinating counterpoint to Haider's cynicism. If our very capacity for cooperation came from being prey, then the method B of social connection isn't just hypocrisy, it's an evolutionary survival strategy. However, Haider's critique is focused on the modern market and power structures. He's looking at how those cooperative instincts are co-opted. In a society with massive power asymmetries, the care and share systems often get overwritten by control and hold elites who use the language of morality to stay in power. Evolutionary psychologists like Robert Kurzban point out that the human mind is modular. We have different press secretaries in our heads. One part of the brain drives selfish behavior, while another part, the press secretary, specializes in public relations, explaining those actions as moral and virtuous. That is the essence of Method B.
So we're all, by design, somewhat hypocritical. We have a moralistic judgment module that watches everyone else for cheers, while our own behavior is driven by ancestral instincts for status and resources. Haider's Method A is essentially an attempt to fire the press secretary and look directly at the raw data of our lives. But if everyone did that, would society just collapse into a war of all against all? If we lose the Shiramo Haya, the shame that keeps us in check, don't we just become more efficient predators?
That is the risk. But Haider isn't necessarily advocating for more predation, he's advocating for awareness. He mentions Parveen Shakir's line, "Bat to sak hai magar bat hai ruswai ki." The truth is disgraceful. He's saying that our social ruswai, or disgrace, often comes from simply acknowledging the mechanics of power. If we keep pretending that success is always purely about merit and never about the Shikari traits of inheritance or aggression, we can never address the underlying inequality. By choosing Method A, we at least stop lying to ourselves. He seems to believe that once you stop being halkan, exhausted by social expectations, you gain the strength to avoid being hunted.
It brings us back to the role of the Shikari he identifies, the intelligent, the powerful, those with the elite skills. In modern terms, we see this in surveillance capitalism or even high-frequency trading. These are highly sophisticated hunters who use technical skills that the prey, the average consumer, barely understands. If we apply Haider's logic, the Method B here is the fine print, the user agreements, the branding that tells us these services are for our benefit, while the Method A reality is simply resource extraction.
Exactly. And the cultural examples he uses are very telling. When he talks about family, parents, uncles, aunts, he's suggesting that even our most intimate circles aren't immune to these dynamics. We've all seen families where one person is the hunter, dominating the resources or the emotional space, while others adapt to the role of prey just to keep the peace. Method B in a family might be the myth of the happy home, while Method A would be tracking exactly who sacrifices their dreams for whose ego. Haider is asking us to have the courage to perform that audit on our own lives.
I'm struck by his mention of the born elite versus those with gundapan. It covers the whole spectrum from the high-born to the street-level enforcer. It suggests that power doesn't care about its source, it only cares about the result. This aligns with what we see in social hierarchy studies, the control and hold strategy. When resources are scarce or when power is highly concentrated, individuals who can use intimidation or exclusive access to skills inevitably move into that hunter category. The Method B then becomes the laws and philosophies that make that concentration look inevitable or even divine, as Haider puts it.
And that's why he says a third way doesn't really exist, except as a mix of A and B. You can be a bit more honest, A, while still maintaining some social veneer, B, but the foundation remains the same. The real shock he's criticizing is the passive acceptance of the Shikar role. If you are born without those advantages, your only defense is to adopt the Method A mindset, to see the trap, to recognize the hunter's tactics, and to refuse to be the tender lamb Nietzsche talked about. It's a call for a kind of radical realism.
But is radical realism enough to change the system? Haider ends by suggesting that if we can reach the moon, we should be able to end this Jabili Lanat, this instinctive curse. Yet he doesn't give a blueprint for how. He just says it's not impossible if we adopt Method A. It feels like he's saying that collective honesty is the first step toward a new kind of human evolution. If we all admit we are playing this game, maybe we can decide to stop playing it by those rules.
It's a tall order. Throughout history, every time a group tries to move beyond the hunter-prey dynamic, a new hunter usually emerges within that very movement. It's the cycle of revolution. But perhaps the method A Haider talks about is less about a political revolution and more about an individual one. It's about personal agency. By refusing to be silenced by Sharam or Munafiqat, you become a much harder target. You stop being the prey that has a shock for its own destruction. You break the poetry of victimhood.
It's a challenging way to look at the world. It forces us to ask, in my last 10 interactions, was I the hunter or the prey? And what lies was I telling myself to justify my position? Haider's essay is a mirror that doesn't use filters. It's uncomfortable, but as he says, Jagar tham ke baithiye, hold your heart and listen. The truth might be a matter of ruswai, but it's the only thing that might actually set us free from the jungle.
In the end, it's about recognizing that while the hunter-prey dynamic might be an ancestral legacy, our method B, our ability to reason and create meaning, doesn't have to be a tool for hypocrisy. It can be the tool we use to build a different reality. But that can only happen if we stop using it to hide the truth. We have to acknowledge the method A reality of power before we can ever hope to transcend it. If we stay stuck in the method B delusion, we're just waiting for the next hunter to find us.
The distinction between being a victim of circumstance and a victim of one's own illusions is subtle but vital. Haider's work serves as a reminder that the path to a more humane world isn't paved with more elaborate justifications, but with the courage to see the world as it is and still choose to be something better. It's about moving from the instinctive reaction of the jungle to the intentional action of a truly evolved species. If you found this exploration of power and perception thought-provoking, share this episode with someone who appreciates a deep look at the human condition.